Welcome. Willkommen.
Bienvenue. Добро пожаловать. Witamy.
Benvenuto.
ようこそ
To This Week in Voice Live.
Emerson, good morning.
Bradley, good morning. How are you?
Doing good. I'm finally back from Omaha, Nebraska, where my Vanderbilt Commodores tried their best, made it to the last game, but couldn't pull the championship out. Still a great season. How are you?
I am doing great. Still over here at Boy Scout camp. In the last 2 weeks, I have cooked just shy of 13,000 meals for the campers and their parents. And they are wrapping up the final day. It's a little rainy here today. Maybe you can see behind me, but it's been a fantastic week. Nice and hot, nice and sunny, but a lot of fun.
Excellent. Yeah, no, that sounds good. That's a lot of meals.
It is. I'm up at about 4 every day and get to bed 11:30. But everybody's been fed. Food has been hopefully pretty good so far. So it's a new experience for me too.
Excellent. Yeah, no, that sounds good. So today's your last day?
Yeah, scouts leave tomorrow morning, and then a new group comes in on Sunday morning.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And for anybody out there that has scouts and is on the East Coast, young men or women, we still have a few more weeks of scout camp left. Plenty of opportunity for some merit badges, some fun camping. Yeah, it's great.
Excellent. You want to start us
everybody
off?
out in the audience?
Good
Good morning. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Yeah, so I want to call attention to a story, and I don't know much about this Neo Life website. We can put this in the chat. I don't really see how to do that, but Emerson, if you don't mind throwing the article link in there. So there's a story I ran across. Basically, to summarize it, it talks about using AI to create these game theoretical simulations in which humans and AI are compared against each other to see who can convince the counterparty to act in a certain way that might be in their interest or may not be in their interest. There we go. There's the link. And the conclusion of the piece is that the findings of this study was that humans are way worse at convincing other humans or other AI to take action of different types than AI is. AI is better at convincing humans and other AI to do things. And the article talks about this from a sales point of view, which I really like because it just has it. It means it impacts every industry, is what it means. And I think it's worth paying attention to because for all these conversations about AI is going to really replace this job or obviate the need for that profession or whatever. I pay attention to those sorts of discussions, and the reality is that every profession is in jeopardy. And the reality is that every industry is going to have not a little, but a lot of disruption. And the only way to insulate yourself against it is to stay on top of this sort of thing and just really to maintain continuous improvement for yourself with your own field. Otherwise, computers are definitely coming for you. And it's a good thing because humans who are mediocre at their job ought to be replaced. And this article really does a good job talking about how it provides a really interesting window into how that's going to happen.
Yeah, I also like some of the stuff they talked about. Made me think, almost of like the Matrix, where the Matrix takes over because it sees. Don't nobody get offended if they're super Matrix fans. Like a spoiler alert, but it takes over because it sees that humanity is destroying itself, or it's destroying the planet, and this is the only way to prevent complete destruction. And it reminds me of, or I think it has some interesting use cases with regards to like nudge theory, where you can subtly manipulate people without them knowing to have a positive effect for the greater good or personally for that individual. So if you think about wearing seatbelts or about vaccinations or anything like that, there are some potentially very, very positive, again, albeit manipulative outcomes that could come from this. Um, but I do think we're not that far away from where we won't have any idea that it's going on. It's in many cases probably going on today, and we have no idea that we're being manipulated behind the scenes.
Well said.
So in terms of or switching gears a little bit, I wanted to talk about being here at Boy Scout Camp, where children wanted to talk about the new functionality coming out from Alexa. So they earlier this week revealed new programs in the Alexa for Kids area. First is voice profiles. This lets you have automatic recognition and identification of up to 4 child speakers, and it applies all of the preferences and parental controls based on which of your children it is that's actually speaking. And so that includes the skills that they have access to. It includes who they can contact if they have voice and video calling set up. The types of music that they can listen to. It also then goes and will recommend other kid-friendly things for their enjoyment. So the voice profiles is one side. The other is really neat. It's called Reading Sidekick, and so it's part of their $3 a month child subscription, but it gives them access to tens or hundreds of thousands of movies, games, TV shows, audiobooks, digital copies of books as well, and one of the key features is this sort of co-reading, coaching, and guidance capabilities. So your child can have a physical book in front of them, they can have an ebook in front of them. There are tens of thousands of these books that it supports. They can ask Alexa to read along with them, and it'll ask them what book they have, and then ask them if they want to read a little bit tonight, if they want to read a lot tonight, and sort of guide them along that journey and take turns reading back and forth with them. If they're reading it really well, it'll give them lots of praise. If they're reading it not so well, if they're struggling, gives them some educational guidance. And it's an interesting sort of companion or an interesting foil to the I don't want to say epidemic, but to the widespread sort of tablet and phone addiction that a lot of young children have today, where there is this sort of physical interaction, there is this educational capability. But I wonder, and I feel like, Bradley, I feel like you and I are biased because we're so close to so close to the voice industry. We know how some of this stuff works, but I do get a sense that a lot of people who are not in voice are still very concerned about the privacy aspects, about it, recording their children all the time. And so I'll be curious to see what the actual adoption is from the broader consumer market, if people will really embrace this to give their kids another avenue, another channel to interact with technology.
Yeah, there's definitely education has been kind of the last bastion of defense against voice anyone that you could call anti-voice, because pre-COVID educators were very concerned about privacy. Post-COVID, it's going to be a non-starter, especially when you mix in just this general anxiety about big tech in our lives that's coming out of this pandemic. So it doesn't make it an impossible task. I actually really like this story. I really like what Amazon's doing a lot. All it does is raise the bar on the utility that this has got to provide. So this cannot be at the gimmick level or anything close to it. This has to be unbelievably Terminator-like effective in helping children read more and read better and comprehend and retain more of what they read. Because otherwise no one's going to use it. And also it's going to put more of a target on Amazon's back, and it's going to make it harder for other people to come forward with this idea. It's just going to be awful. So I'm hoping this works. And certainly we know coming out of the pandemic, a lot of children need educational help who have been left behind. That's another reason to root for the success of this project.
Yeah, well, that's well said, Bradley. Shall we bring on our guest?
Let's do it.
All right.
Hello.
While he is
Nico,
up,
how are you?
Today's guest, we have Nico.
Good morning. Hi, Emerson. Hi, Bradley. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Well, both you and Emerson are looking real rustic. I'm the one in a super corporate environment. Nico, thanks for joining us. Tell us who you are and what you do.
No worries. I'm actually I'm calling him. I'm joining from a small chalet in the Swiss Alps where I'm staying right now. So that's why things look a bit rustic around me. But hi, everyone. So my name is Nico. I'm an engineer and a researcher, and I'm interested in interactions, fundamentally how individuals behave and how they interact to do things together. And the reason for this, so I'm starting from the big picture thing, is that I think that as a civilization, we have a number of large problems to deal with. And of course, climate change is at the top of the list, in my opinion. And we're not really equipped to deal with them because individually we reason over very limited spatial temporal horizons because that's what we are hardwired to do. We've evolved to be like this. But I believe that if we solve cooperation, how we do things together, how we solve problems together, then we solve everything else. And so I come from a background in engineering. I did a lot of electrical engineering and robotics because I wanted to build, complicated machines that would solve all of our problems. And then I realized that it wasn't going to work because we didn't really understand enough about how we work and how we make decisions. So I did a lot of evolutionary biology and behavioral studies and stuff like, game theory that you were referring to. And after that, then a lot more of agent-based modeling and data-driven modeling to understand and really model and predict behavior and interactions, of course. And it is through this that I came to AI, machine learning. We used to call it machine learning then. Quite late, actually, about 10 years ago, but I've really stuck to this idea of deciphering, understanding interactions, and that's how I got into voice.
And so, Nico, you were formerly the head of AI at Hyperloop. You mentioned some of the biological and behavioral science. You published research about social behavior in bats. You have a pretty varied and storied history. What brought you to voice, and what is it that that made you found OTO to try and solve a problem?
Yeah. So I wasn't the head of AI at Hyperloop, but I was leading the machine learning, so the AI team, which was pretty fun, really, like working a new mode of transportation. And like I said, I've always been interested in interactions, how individuals, be they animals or humans, that's why I worked on bats and other creatures, how they do things. And I used to work in humans as well, and how humans make decisions together. And something that I've always found a bit frustrating when I was doing my PhD and my postdoc was that it was really hard to study humans because of of course, there was a data privacy aspect, but also we are really complex in our interactions. And the thing we do best, or one of the things we do best, is to use language, complex language to convey meaning and intention. And back then, it was really hard to actually automatically extract meaning from recorded language by machines, to model how conversations work. And we'll fast forward maybe 7-8 years. In 2017, I met my now co-founder at SRI International in Menlo Park, California, so the birthplace of things like the computer mouse, or Siri, now Apple, or Nuance Communications, now Microsoft. And he said, hey, look, I have these really cool, he was an entrepreneur in residence at SRI, and he said, I have these really cool tech that I want to build a company around. And it is technology that allows machines to understand emotions. Broadly, it's not only emotions, it's more intonation. It's often meaning, or a conversation is not about what you say, but how you say it. And the how you say things has received little attention, because the what is often hard enough. And so he said, let's create something with this. And I thought, that's amazing, because I've always actually wanted to do this. I've always been interested to look into that part of the sort of the complexity of our interactions. And so that's how we decided to build OTO 4 years ago, really to decipher intonation and bring more nuance to how machines understand spoken language.
So, Nico, I have a 9-year-old, and he's getting into gaming, and he's getting into YouTube. Back when I was growing up, the concept of playing video games alone meant that you weren't ever going to become, nothing was ever going to become of you. You might as well just give up.
Yeah.
And your life is forfeit, basically. Now you have YouTube. You have people who, the concept of watching other people play video games would have been absolutely asinine. Now, like my 9-year-old son, we just got back from a vacation. All he wants to do is watch people play Rocket League on YouTube. And when he's not watching people play Rocket League on YouTube, he wants to actually be playing Rocket League. A big thing that your website talks about is, using voice and AI for content moderation and making the world a safer place, because I've held him back. He's very restricted on what he can and can't do on Xbox Live and on the internet in general, because I'm just not going to whatever he may encounter out there. How does your solution help solve that problem?
Great. So thanks. I have a niece who's in the same situation, and I'm going to be dad actually later this year. And I also want my children, when they grow up, to have a safe space online. And I think there's two quite interesting things that happen in a gaming industry, because I also grew up playing video games, and then you would shoot monsters on your own, and occasionally you would get together with other people to shoot monsters, but you wouldn't really live in the game. And now what is very different is that people, they build online communities, and they have meaningful alternate existences online. And so it's important that the same way there's a way for us to feel safe in the physical world, it's important that there's a way for everyone, including children, of course, to feel safe online. And we got to this very briefly with OTO. So we started analyzing conversations in call centers, because there's tons of data and some interesting problems to solve. And then, but when COVID hit a bit before, we realized there was sort of a bigger wave to ride, because voice was booming, as you well know, of course. So we built a platform that implements and deploys the technology that I talked about to understand, intonation, etc., and sort of explored a few different use cases. And about 6-9 months ago, we found what is, in my opinion, potentially the most interesting and impactful use case for our tech, which is making online communities, and especially online voice chats, safe. The idea is that it's all about context. There's 1,000 ways, there's 1,000,000 ways to say the F word, for example. And I'm sure you say it every now and then, and I say it a lot. And it's almost never meant in a bad way. So I don't think and that's an example, but I don't think that these should be banned automatically. But it's really about the tone of an interaction. So if I get angry at someone, I could be saying things whose content, the semantics of it, don't carry much intention to harm, but actually the way I say it is really important. And so what we do is that we use our technology to understand, to characterize the acoustic context of a conversation, and from the voices of the people online, we understand, if they're children, for example, if they're female gamers in the room, people can be very toxic to female gamers, and then we focus on sort of what we call key moments in a conversation, things where there's a rapid fire interaction, things get heated, for example, and then we say, well, this is something worth reviewing for a human. We're not at the stage, and I really don't want us to rush to automating moderation by AI, because I think there should be a human in the loop. So what we're building with SafeVox is a platform for human content moderators to do their job much better and much faster, so saving them 90% of the work, so that they can help with active positive moderation, making they can help make online voice communities safer. And that's something that, after 4 years of trying many different applications of our voice tech, that's something that I personally, having grown up playing video games and seeing everyone around us and children now and my kids one day, that's something that I very strongly believe in.
Well, we're rooting for you, because we need those sort of solutions. So I appreciate that explanation.
Most welcome.
Emerson, let's get the content moderation ready, because I'm about to win another game.
The demo you gave. All right.
Sorry, Emerson.
So I had all right.
Oh.
So if you guys will head to box.tv, you can type in that secret code.
Okay.
And we can get rolling. And for anybody out in the audience, you too can join us as a guest judge, and help determine what new word, what new definition we're going to put in the books for all eternity.
Cool, I'm in.
Give me this 1 second. I'm getting in here. Let me see if this works.
Sandbagging, because he reliably wins these. Reliably wins these sessions.
Hello, welcome to the Dictionarium, a place for people who love words or just want to get to know them better as friends. What a great team.
So Nico, this first round, it will give us a fake word, and we have to come up with the definition. And so to use your browser to type, I think the definition might be for this nonsense gibberish word that it's going to give us.
Interesting.
Play along. Time to play. Right off the bat, I am giving you a new word. Write down a definition that you think fits this word.
Oh.
Word sprung fully formed from the skull of Zeus. If you're not sure what to write, I say take a deep breath and take a big swing. You might just hit it out of the park.
It's amazing we subject our guests to this game.
So I'm not sure if it has to make any sense. but I wrote something.
It doesn't.
Well,
Good.
yeah, it's a fake word, so it already makes sense. So a half scary, cute creature roaming Asian forests. Peace, surplus of black-eyed peas. And peace, when you first wake up in the morning and need to use the bath, but someone is in there, so you relieve yourself straight into the morning sun. So now, Nico, you can on your browser which one you think is the best one.
And the winning definition to be recorded forever in the dictionary.
Surplus of black-eyed
Nico, take
peas.
it.
That's the best answer. This is under protest.
All right,
Nico,
so
nice
now,
job.
Nico, the second one is we have to come up with
All
for
right.
that definition that's created.
Hungry for a synonym. Now it's your turn. Make up
Oh,
a
and
word
actually,
that
while
matches the
there's
definition
someone
on
in
your
the chat.
device. This is a quick round.
Nico, there's a question for you. Well, after you type in your answer, you can take a look.
Cool. Can I answer the question now, or should I do this later?
You must do it now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good, I can multitask. Hi, LinkedIn user. We do work with different platforms, including, you know what, I'll just answer later.
Choose the word that best fits the definition.
Ooh. We've got
Yeah, that-
friend.
Oh, John's asking, who do I file the protest with, though? That's a good question. I need to figure that out. I haven't, John, I haven't needed to protest. The occasion to protest has been so little, I haven't figured that out.
And coming back to content moderation, we don't work with Twitch specifically, but we work with a few different standards. So I invite you to check out safevox.auto.ai. All right. Oh no. Oh no, not
Ooh,
all right. Sorry.
all
I
right.
thought it was fast. Yeah.
Now
Come on.
I'm on track for the worst performance of all time. I need my content moderation tools ready for the end of this game.
Right, and now we have to use it in a sentence.
Word caterpillar, or I don't know, maybe not. Hit submit.
Oh,
Let's check out the sentences.
All right, crow, very half cute creature roaming Asian forest. All of a sudden, the bird stopped chirping, the cricket stopped getting. I turned around. Right behind me was a not so fearsome crow. As I strolled through the dense and humid undergrowth, I got a glimpse of a pack of crows idling and frolicking in equal. And I was speaking to a crow, and I went to curse him out for poor performance in Dictionarium, but
And now
auto stopped me in my tracks, probably for the best.
This is a good game.
actually, I think this is the last time we're ever going to play this.
That's amazing.
Oh, you, Bradley, let's see.
all together, and
This
we
is gonna be
have a
close.
new entry for the Dictionarium.
I think this may be the time that
Now,
a different
let's
person
see
has
who got
won
the
every
most
round.
points.
Come on.
Oh,
I
good
didn't
game.
deserve any
Yeah,
points.
yeah, there we go.
I donate all points to Nico.
Very soon.
Good game, everyone, and I donate them back to Emerson for his scout camp.
Nico, thank you for joining us.
I had forgotten it was like to win
great,
that
and
game.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're most welcome. I had a great time, and I learned 2 new words.
yeah. So Odo needs to take those into account. And look, we appreciate you. Thanks for the work you're doing. Thanks for spending part of your time with us.
Most welcome. Have a great day ahead, and enjoy the weekend.
You too.
Yeah, have
Thanks
a
for
happy
everyone
holiday
watching.
weekend to everybody in the States.